All right, so welcome to YouTube Mastermind. Where we come together every single Thursday at 12 p.m. Central to grow our YouTube presence, but more importantly, grow real estate business. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm not necessarily on YouTube just to be on YouTube. I'm looking more for results. I'm looking more for people reaching out to buy or sell. It makes my life a lot easier. I myself am a terrible cold caller, somebody that actually just, it was, YouTube came out of my fear of getting on the phone. It's really paid off in every which way. So at any point in time, this is a uh, conversation. Feel free to unmute, chat, questions, anything in between that you have to address. Last week, just a little bit of a recap. Um, we unpacked live streaming, why that was very, very, very important to be doing, especially in today's market if you're looking to index a lot of the keywords that are being searched for right now. And I unpacked everything on how to structure your video, how to go live. We talked about what aspect of it. The series that we're currently working on here within our channels, and that's working well for us. I also shared the funnel that we're using. We cover a lot of different things. So again, any question that we have, no question too big or too small. I'll absolutely just share my screen and unpack it to give you an idea of what's working and what we've tried out. And that hasn't worked at least until now. So today we'll let me back up. Any questions on live streaming? Any questions on some of the things that we covered last week?
Just when can we get that huge Notion flow chart thing that you made? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. That's not a good idea. It's a really good question. So right now the it's not ready for prime time, like for the public consumption, but the first people that are going to get it are going to be our creator agents that are part of creator agents, and also the folks that hop onto our mastermind. So just to give you an idea of the mastermind that we have here on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central, unpack everything. Some of you may be part of creator agents, which many of you actually are, and some of you are not, and that's okay. But this is meant to be public and also for the creator agents. But the first folks that are going to get that is creator agents and the mastermind here. So I'm not looking to monetize that for sell as a course or anything like that. And what Mike is referencing is what we're creating is the funnel that all you're going to have to do, and by you I mean each one of you here, all you'll have to do is create a video that's going to be embedded in the middle of that funnel to be attracting leads. So backing out for a quick second, all the YouTube videos that you're making, and that we're doing, so all the videos that we're making are going to be at top of funnel, attracting traffic to us, essentially getting eyeballs on us. And we have one direct call to action, which is going to be a URL. So our URL is one of our many is dfwhomebuyerclass.com, where people are going to go to that website, up into our funnel, and then the one thing that we're going to ask for each one of you, if you decide to deploy this strategy, is to create that one singular video that will live in this masterclass, but the rest of it is going to be already created for you. Now there's going to be some changes. So obviously you're in different states, different countries, including. So we're going to be modifying that slightly. So Dan will modify it to Florida specific. Sam's gonna modify it to Florida specific. Rich, Maryland, and Delaware. So you're just going to modify a few things, but the bulk of it, 90% of it, is going to already be done for you. So that's going to be a way to, have a valuable lead magnet that you're not going to necessarily be able to find out there on the Zillows of the world or on any of the other websites out there. So that's what Mike was referencing. And that'll be ready to go June 1st.
Hi, Mike. Just a quick thing. I don't know if it's just for me, but your audio is coming through like a little bit garbled. It's like a little bit tough to pick up what you're saying, all of it.
Thank you for the feedback.
low battery mode, right?
Okay, how about this version? Is this better or worse, different, the same?
It's better. Yeah, definitely better.
Better.
Yeah.
I think I outed myself as having way too much crap tech stuff. So you don't want to see me pull out my third AirPods, but I can if you want me to. So if it gets unmanageable, let me know. I'll just move outside and stop bothering these people around me. Okay, questions about that? Any questions about live stream? Questions about anything that we've got going on? Cool, 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 cool. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was our workflow today, but I ended up pivoting and want to show you how to create videos because I think even before we get into the concept of how to batch, how to go about creating multiple videos at once, I want to share with you in real time, create a video with you to show you how simple it is. So then we can, or the only friction that we would have would be getting in front of the camera. So this can be a good way for us to have a participation, especially with we have such a technician right now. I want to get some participation from you as I share my screen here. So some of you are gonna recognize this right out of the gate. This is a hub that many of you have access to. And if you don't have access to this, then just email hello at the DFW homeowner. I'm sorry, not that's the wrong one. Hello at thecreatoragent.com. Carmel, can you drop that into the chat? Hello at thecreatoragent.com. And we'll send you the link to our to this particular hub. So you can be working off of the same thing as well, where we systematize how we create videos. But I want to actually create a video with you to show you how quickly we can do this. So if Carmel, if you could help me out with that email, just drop it in the chat so folks can see it. Then you just email that email that will be dropped in the chat shortly for access to this hub, and you'll get it there delivered to you within minutes. Alrighty, so let's get into video creation mode. So very, 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 very briefly, I'm going to explain our workflow and the way that I see creating videos is the same way that any videos that you see out there on via Hollywood, via TV shows, via whatever, every video has gone through this workflow. They may not call it this workflow, but it is the exact same workflow that they go through. So first, you're going to come up with ideas. So you're going to be brainstorming what videos should I be making. So it's the ideation phase. Then it's the optimization phase, which is basically the filter. This is where bad ideas go to die. So you may have all the best ideas in the world, but that doesn't mean, or you may have all these ideas in the world, but that doesn't mean that they should all be on your YouTube channel, either because they don't align with your YouTube strategy, with the type of content that you like creating, with the type of content that you want to be creating. And also the demand just may not be there, right? So we don't want to speak, especially on YouTube, we don't want to speak to an audience of one in the sense that we're just banking on being helpful to one person. When we're out on YouTube, we have the ability to speak to many. So we want to solve as many people's problem as possible. That will benefit us. I know it sounds a little bit selfish to say, but at the end of the day, that's what we're doing this for, attracting buyers and sellers. Anyway, at the optimizing phase, what you're going to go and do is look at ideas that should not be created. So you're going to put it through a filter for things to consider. And if you can't really answer the first four, or these four questions or these four criteria, you probably shouldn't be making that video. So number one is traffic, essentially demand. Is there anybody that's going to need this video? Should I be making this video? Like, is there any demand? The second thing is the thumbnail. What does the thumbnail need to look like? Can I visualize what this thumbnail should be? Number three is a title. Can I clearly articulate in one sentence or in a title what this video is about? And do I have a strong enough 30 seconds? Now, for those of you that have been following the system that I've worked with for years and years, you're going to notice that I added a fourth, which is the first 30 seconds because it's that powerful. If you don't know how we're going to open up that video, chances are we're going to have a low performing video that we can never get people hooked into the video. 80% of your success is going to depend on your first 30 seconds. I'll say it again. 80% of your success is going to focus on your first 30 seconds. So if you cannot figure out what you're going to say within those first 30 seconds, giving people a reason to stay, you probably shouldn't be making that video as well. You're going to have a low performing video because on average, we need at least 70% of our audience within the first 30 seconds to stay. I'll say it again. Within that first 30 seconds, you need 70% of your audience still watching your videos. That makes sense? So we'll keep going. I said it was going to be brief, and this is by far not brief. So let's go to scripting, which is we're going to park it for a while, and we're actually going to script out a video. So right now is where I need participation. So think of it this way. This is our avatar just to give us a little bit of run room. Let's speak to a buyer and help as many people in the room. Let's speak to a buyer that is buying their first home. So that's an avatar. Call it a young couple that is considering buying their first house. And so that's your avatar. Let's call them early 30s, whatever you want to call it, that is looking to buy their first house. What video do you want us to create right now? You can drop it in the chat or unmute yourself. We can start working through the ideation phase. What is something that you want to share with first-time home buyers? I just need video topics right now. Just need video topics. That's what we're doing. How to get pre-qualified? How much is the down payment? How to get pre-qualified? How much is down payment? Financing for first-time home buyers. What's better to buy? By the states, buyers, buying process, the price step, buying home with, you are coming up with some good stuff. All right. Y'all delivered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I think we're good to go for now. It's okay. The mortgage is higher than rent. Okay, so we have a lot of really how to buy a home in city. Ooh, Tammy. Somebody was here last week. This is perfect. Okay, so how to get pre-qualified, how much is down payment, financing for first-time home buyers, what's better, top 5 mistakes. Okay, so here's a little tip that has really proven out to be true with the creators that we work with. Anytime you get to the finance, anytime you get to the numbers, anytime you can explain that, you're going to get historically a lower view per lead ratio. So meaning if you start talking about that final, how to calculate the mortgage payment, if you talk about how much home you can afford with an $80,000 salary in your particular neck of the woods, so let's call it Maryland or Delaware. If you start talking about anything that has to do with math, and you simplify the mortgage process to your viewer, you're going to get leads. You're not going to get the most amount of views. I'll just be completely candid, but you are going to get the highest or the lowest view per lead ratio. So if you do a general real estate video, you're looking at about 1,200 views per lead. That's about 1,200 views per lead. That has something to do in the ballpark of real estate. That's the average. Now, if you are doing property tour videos, you're going to need 4,000 to 6,000 views per lead. So it's essentially a lot of people gravitate towards that house porn where they'll just watch houses and they're never ever going to reach out to. If you do housing market updates where you're talking about just the market is going to collapse, the market's terrible, the market's going nowhere, there you're looking at about 15 to 20,000 views per lead because they are watching that video just for I'll get off. I'm gonna go off the tangent, so I'm not gonna go there. Um, but when you're talking about doing videos that have to do more with the mortgage payment, when you start to talk more about the down payment, you talk about your salary, there it's about 500 views per lead. Just to give you some stats, just to give some metrics. So the more videos that you make that have to do with numbers, although it can get boring, it can get boring. Um, know that if you're talking about like the financing topic, that's something that can lend itself to more leads with your amount of views. How to get pre-qualified, that's also one that could perform quite well. Let's see, buying a process, that one's gonna be about 1,200 views per lead. Home buying with little money down, that one's gonna be about the same. Okay, so let's go with which video should we create? Let's go with one that I think should be in everybody's arsenal. It's good, the home buying process. So we're gonna go with this one. So we're going to work through this real quick. All right, so here up until now, we've done the exact same thing that never pays that. Here, we really haven't done too much outside just brainstorming. Now, the next phase would be do we know what the thumbnail can look like? Do we know how we can title this? Do we know what the first 30 seconds can look like? And do we know if there's going to be traffic? Well, people are looking how to buy a house um, all of the time, so we know it's going to have traffic. If you want proof that that's the case, you can do it several different ways. You can go to Google Trends and find out if there's traffic. You could use Google Keyword Planner, which will give you the stats on how many times it's been searched. You can go to YouTube itself and see how many videos have been created on there. You could use tools like vidIQ or TubeBuddy, the free ones. You don't need to do the paid, and see how much search terms are being done on YouTube and also versus Google. This is something that's free for you to use. This is a very obvious one, so we're not going to go through all of that right now. But just to give you an idea of where we would go to find that information. That makes sense so far? All right, so what's most important here is we're going to get into the scripting and we're going to script this out. It's extremely fast. I mean, just dumb fast. So the way that we do the layout of our videos is pretty simple. So I'll just lay it out here so you see it. It's going to be the hook. We're going to provide a strong reason, a first sentence, a first opener for people to watch this video. We're going to do a reinforcement statement of why video matters. Video topic matters. So it's going to be a one-liner, just a strong hook. The second, a reinforcement statement of why we need it, why you should be watching this video, why I even created this video. Yeah. They want to get through the agenda. So, like in this video, you're going to learn A, B, C, and D. Basically, you're just sharing. You're in the right space. So here's where I like to pause and share why we structure it this way. Well, let's do the payoff. These four should take you no more than 30 seconds. So within the first 30 seconds, here's what's happened. So keep in mind, here again, it goes into the strategy that we talked about. Here at the optimized stage, we talked about traffic, thumbnail, title, 30 seconds. Traffic, thumbnail, title, 30 seconds. So the four T's that we're discussing here. Now, the reason that we go into the first 30 seconds the way that we do is because most of your audience is going to be watching you for the very first time when they see you on YouTube. On average, your viewer is going to see no more than 2 videos of yours. So I'll say it again, on average, your viewer is going to see no more than 2 videos of yours. So they don't know who we are. They don't know what we do. They're looking at our topic most likely because the browse sent their video their way, or they were on a suggested video because they were watching one of our other fellow creators, and then your video happened to come up, or you happen to index incredibly well in the search when they were looking on how to buy a home in Delaware. That's why our video showed up. So here again, we have to go right into the meat and potatoes of it. So we're gonna do a strong hook of bringing people into that video. We're gonna reinforce why this video is important. So we're not only validating the reason that they're watching this video, but why we created it. Third, we're gonna share the agenda right out of the gate, so they know if they're in the right place. Because remember, let's just go through the example. They want to see how to buy a home in Orlando. Well, when somebody watches that video, they want to see, hey, is this video that had a really good thumbnail, had a what appears to be a good title of what I expect to see is what the I'm looking for in this video. And you're gonna validate that reason right here in the agenda. But beyond that, you're gonna share with them why they need to be staying. So you're gonna give them the payoff center. If you stick with me to the end, I'm gonna share with you how to actually save money when you buy your first home in Orlando. On average, about $5,000 worth of savings, as an example. Right, so you're trying to get people to the finish line. So you're pulling them to the finish line by giving them a payoff sentence or statement. And here, it's just a brief intro. And I mean ultra brief intro. We're talking about 2 sentences at most. Welcome to DFW Homeowner Group, where you'll find real estate information that no one else is sharing with you. My name is Jaime Resendez. Let's get into it. Right, so it doesn't need to be that. It's just basically it's about them. And then we just get right into it. So then we go into point 1, point 2, point 3, however many points there are. Then we're going to do the payoff. So essentially, remember, we promised them to stay to the end, or promise that, hey, if you stick with me, you're going to learn how to save $5,000. You don't even have to call it out again, but just give you the most basic way to do the payoff is give them the payoff. And then outro, you're going to either do outro to a CTA. So check out the links down below to get your free home analysis as an example, or you're going to do a next video CTA where if you found value in this video, you're going to find a ton of value in this next one right here. And if you happen to know what that next one happens to be, call it out. Any questions on the structure of the video itself? Yes, sir.
Yeah, just on, sorry, for a video like this, I totally understand how you can have a payoff, but are there other videos where you didn't feel a payoff made sense, or it's a lifestyle type video or something where a payoff doesn't work? Are there any other sort of options besides, hey, stick around to the end to find this, and you got to come up with a reason?
Yeah, no, this is a really good question. Give me a video topic that you think might not have a payoff, and we'll work through it.
So just like the one, like condo versus house. So a lot of people on my market, they are young couple in their early 30s looking to buy their first place. Should we stay in the city or should we move to the suburbs? And it's kind of like, all right, there probably is a payoff, but I'm just kind of thinking, or like best neighborhood
Yes.
in your city, is there a payoff? Like you can always come up with a payoff, but I'm just wondering if there's
Yeah.
something in their strategy.
No, I think that there should always be a payoff in every video. Even so, we'll go through your example. So we would do a strong hook, whatever it happens to be. So I think yours was the condo. What's better to buy? So you probably thought about. So you're probably thinking about either buying a condo or a home, or a residential home right now. And then that's a terrible hook, but don't use that. Anyway, I'm just trying to get to the payoff. So the payoff is going to be now. If you stick with me, this is the most basic way to do it. So if you stick with me to the end, I'm going to share with you my actual personal opinion, right? So you're the professor at this point. You're sharing with them the pros and cons, right? And so there's just the opinion. So you're speaking from authority there. You can do another type of payout where you could share. Now, I don't know, if you stick with me to the end, again, if you stick with me to the end, you're just giving it away. It's very basic right now. You can bake it in later on. I'll share a little bit different ways to phrase it. But if you stick with me to the end, I'm going to share with you a disaster story of each one that I think you need to know about. Now, I I promise you that throughout this video now, and I promise you that once you watch this video, you will have clarity on if condo is the absolute right choice for you, or if the residential home is the play. It's very wordy. I'm going to word it that way, but as you can see, there is a payoff.
I get what you're
Now,
saying. I think the phrasing is kind of what I was going for. Like a lot of that, if you stick around to the end, like is the phrasing of it, just like you have 20, 50 different hooks, I'm sure there's lots of resources for different types of payoff sentences that feel a bit more natural and work for
yeah.
different.
Now you can phrase it in a different way, like and phrase it as a guarantee, right? So now one of the things that one of the guarantees that one of the things that you'll find. So here's like one of the things that you'll find after watching this video is that the condo versus residential home decision is really not that challenging once you know where to live or once you know what to look for. Now, if you want to like incentivize one with money, which is typically what does. So here, like if we were doing the home buying process step by step. Now, if you watch now, one thing that you'll find throughout the process is that there are ways to save up to $10,000 without even looking for that. And I'm going to show you how. I didn't say at what point throughout the video. I just made a promise or more of a statement, if you have like a guarantee. Like if you stick with me, I'm going to share with you how you can save up to $10,000, and you can bake that in any one of these points. Right. So if you buy if you buy new construction, well, simply ask. Simply ask for that discount. Like, you don't have to pay retail. That's a really good question. So this is the structure that we're going to use. Now, here's the thing. I'll just drop it into the chat. Many of you that have creator agents already, you have it anyway, but I don't drop it into the chat because this is the exact same thing that we're going to be using. So now we're going to go over to our friend Chat GPT because we got to script this video. Now, this is going to be super, super quick. Let me see. Well, I don't want to cheat because I already did this video, but I won't cheat this time. So first we're going to start off by talking to Chat GPT. So right now, what we want to do first is at least get the content that we want to cover. Can you explain to me as if I was a first-time home buyer, how to buy a home in Oklahoma? Well, now let's get somebody that is actually Odessa, you're Arizona. So I want you to validate this. I could use Texas, but that's too easy. How about home in Arizona? So let's just start off broad. We're going to start talking to our friend and really unpack it. All right, so how to buy a home in Arizona, stuff like that. Understand the budget, get pre-approved by lender, find the local real estate agent, start house hunting, make an offer, get a home inspection, get a home appraised, find a loan approval, close on your home. Do you disagree with any one of these points? Is there a point that you would like to elaborate on or niche?
I would just change the order personally between the pre-approved by a lender and finding an agent, because I would prefer to be able to direct them to an agent versus the lender directing, I want to direct them to a lender versus the lender directing them to an agent. So I would just switch the order of number 2 and 3.
All right, so we essentially said, hey, let's swap out 3 and 2, which is what you're saying. Okay, now with these step-by-step processes, here's what happens. They can get a little bit boring, and I'll admit some of my videos are boring as hell. They're materially correct, but how you're going to relate to these folks is to attach a story to it. So once we have, let's just say the material, like I don't want to lose this because I think it's good, right? So let's just say I'm just gonna drop it in there just so I have it reserved. I can always come back to it. It's not gonna be a big, it's not the end of the world, but materially, this is what we're assuming. Now, what we're gonna do is excellent job. Now, can you add in placeholders, about 3 to 4 of them, where I can introduce a story from one of my clients? I want to reinforce the point and entertain and share personal experience as social proof. So here I'm telling it what I should have just told you, like share personal experience as social proof. So not only you are entertaining in this world, not only you're going to make it less dry, but you're going to be able to reinforce the point that you're making, because that's how we're learning. We're learning by story. And at the same time, you're showing social proof. Well, this is why it's so important that we do a pre-inspection, because um, Haley and Camden, they thought they didn't need it. They were adamant about saving the $500, but when I pushed for it, pushed for it, find out that the drywall was full of asbestos. I don't know, I'm making up examples, but just giving you like that social proof is, well, this person clearly cares. This person's done this before. This person has some credibility behind it. And then, so it's giving us some different places in the video to insert our story, right? So let's see where it shows it. Understand your budget. So a quick story here about a client who thought they couldn't afford a home. Maybe they were renting for 10 years until they said blah, blah, blah. So here I would tell a story about um, Armando, who was adamant about coming to Dallas and renting for a year uh, because they wanted to get the area, blah, blah, blah. Well, after a brief conversation, found out that it was actually cheaper for them to buy a resale in today's market. And as opposed to spending $28,000 in rent, now they're spending actually less, $22,000 towards the equity of their home. And they got the area wrong. They actually hated it. And that's okay. That was going to be the same issue that they were going to run into when they're renting. However, now they have a home that they can rent out as opposed to starting over from scratch. Right. So you're just essentially sharing the story. Now, here's one of the things that newer agents get in trouble with is like, well, one, you don't want to lie, but two is you think that, well, I don't have really any experience, so I don't want to share something that didn't happen to me, and that's good. That's exactly what should happen. But this is what we need to teach through other people's experiences. So if you go to any conference out there, these folks are getting paid 100, 200, $300,000 to speak on stage. Most of their stories, they're embellished, sure, but most of their stories is through somebody else. Like I heard somebody, or uh, Maxwell tells of a story of blank and blank. The story of Job tells about A, B, and C. Right? It's through somebody else's experiences that's not even theirs. So don't feel, again, if this is more applying to the new real estate agents that don't really have transactions under the belt, don't feel like you have to come up with your own story because you can't or don't have that experience. But teach through other people's experiences that is true, and you're essentially retelling that story, which is perfectly fine. Again, this is more for newer real estate agents that may not have that experience quite yet. So for our purposes today, what we're going to do here is do this. We're going to go with version 2 real quick. Why do I always forget that? It's toggle. Okay, so I added the story, right? So here's what I do whenever I'm just crafting through it, just absolutely breezing through it. And I'll be brief because we do have to dip out in 10 minutes. So before you do anything else, think about what you can afford. So what we do here is, let's just assume that all of this was correct. Okay, excellent. Can you create a YouTube video from the points above using this video structure? Now, if we come back here, and put that in. And then it even breaks it down to what they are, what the points that we cover. So are you dreaming about buying your first home in Arizona, but feeling totally overwhelmed by the process? So that's actually not a bad hook at all. Now another hook, like if you want to pull in numbers, again, numbers really sell. How would you like to buy your next how would you like to buy your first Arizona home from stage up to $10,000? Again, numbers just absolutely just set. Now, here's the important part is that you do have to back it up somehow. But the important thing here is just backing it up with numbers. You're not alone. Buying a home can feel confusing, especially in today's market. But the good news with the right guidance, it's totally doable, even if you've never done it before. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps in plain English. I'll share with you a few quick stories. So here's what I would do is I would replace that actually. And here's how I would do that. I wouldn't even go and rewrite everything. Excellent. For the agenda, please share that will cover how to finding their budget, searching for the home, getting offers accepted, and how to close on time. So I just basically kind of popcorn through the process. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire home buying process in Arizona, show you how to figure out your budget, how to search for the right home, how to get your offer accepted, and how to actually close on time without last minute surprise. Right. So again, keep in mind the viewer in mind at this point. They watched you. This is the very first time that you're meeting them. They think that the video is the right for them. What you're doing here is validating the reason for them to stay. So whenever I copy this huge thing right here, oh, actually, this was wrong to begin with. Let me go first. Backing up for a second. On the script, go ahead and use all 10 points we wanted to talk about in the home buying process. This time include the new agenda point, the revised as well. And now it should go in here and fill those in. Any questions on this? I'm not going to be able to really get to the full end and polish this all the way through, but you have the rest of it's just preferential. What stories you want to share, how much into the weeds you want to get into, where you think things are going. So the last point that I want to share is ChatGPT is a little bit finicky, but I think it's important of stats. So whenever I'm working through some points like this, whenever we're working like this, say I would try to present some points that a lot of renters or a lot of people just aren't really mindful of. That I awesome. One quick question. Do you know the difference net worth between the difference net worth between a renter and a home buyer? Again, I'm just pulling in some stats. I'm putting in some reinforcement information, and I have to get out of ChatGPT. I mean, that's powerful. If true, that's incredibly powerful. We want to double check this, but this is something that you can just continue reformatting. That's why you see like a lot of different versions to where ultimately when it's the final version, I would just make another toggle and just copy and then start blending in some of the different things that I want to say. To just at the end of the day, once I'm ready to go, I just throw it over here and it's good to go. And you can see a version of this in my how to buy new construction. Like this is a video that I've been working on for a while. I've recorded a few bits of it, but I've gone through all the points that I want to cover here. And I just throw in, or my team, Carmel helps out a ton. Our creative director helps out a ton, like adding in some additional truth, adding in some additional points that I want to cover in these videos. It's the exact same process that I go through. Like I put in some actual home builders, I put in some real life information. So so it backs up with some teeth what the topic is. All right, questions on
Hey,
that?
honey. Yeah, I have a
Yes.
question. I've created these great scripts before, and obviously with creator agents, we've got a lot of things that's pretty much ready to go, but I struggle with using a script from the eye movement, right? Either it you can see my eyes are going across the screen and you're reading a script, or I can't quite get it right. So I started with using these wonderful scripts, and the videos were, I think we threw a few of them away. And now I feel like I read it and then I just set it aside and record. And then I realize I screwed up, so I have to do another take. And like, how much do you use the script either to practice or to read off of versus, I guess I'm just looking for what, as somebody who does amazing work, how much you rely on the script while you're actually recording.
I get the high notes. I don't try to get the exact verbiage right. The only caveat to that is if it's a number, if it's a stat, I don't even record. I don't actually try to say it or memorize it. I will literally just have my eyes look over here. I want to keep the microphone in the same spot, so I'm not going to look into it because that will throw off the volume for my editors. So I'll just look off to the side and I'll start reading the numbers, blah, 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 blah. And I know that the editing team is going to throw in some B-roll to cover up my eyes. So I don't
Perfect.
go
Yeah.
line by line. I would just get some general concept on things that look natural. Even when I write some things, it's very rare that I keep the exact same words because I'm speaking a little bit different than what I talk, how I talk.
So you use the script as a practice, a prep, right? But then set it aside until you know, oh, I need a number. And then you look at it to find your number, say it, know that's going to be B-roll, and then look back at the camera and continue. That makes sense.
No, Dessa, you can say in your when you're making the videos, like tell the editors, hey, I'm gonna read off of this line here. Like I've got this, I did this video just recently where there's no way I was gonna memorize it, would take forever. But I was like, hey, I'm gonna do B-roll right here. So I'm gonna read this and then they'll just edit in the B there. So
Yeah, that makes
most of it
sense.
that I'm doing here
I
is
Yeah, I know I've done that on home tours where I can't open a door or something. I'm like, hey, cut this out. Cut this out and pick it back up when I actually exit the house. So yeah, that's a good idea to even just mention it. It can make you
Question.
feel more
Good
comfortable that
question.
you're not screwing it up, right? Yeah.
I made a question on the outro. That's kind of like the biggest thing. Like even when I'm watching a video, as soon as the video, I know the end is coming. Okay, I'm off, right? What are your, is it the same CTA each time? Does it depend upon what you've offered necessarily in the video? Is it short and sweet? Like I've watched a bunch of your videos, obviously, but I'm trying to study those videos versus watching them as a buyer coming through. So do you have any sort of advice on that?
Try to get out of that video as soon as possible. So if I know what video makes sense next, like if I'm talking about homestead exemption and then I want them to talk about property taxes, then I verbalize now you know everything you need to know about homestead exemptions. You probably need to figure out how to save thousands in your next property tax bill. Check out this video next. That's going to take less than 5 seconds.
But
I try to get out there.
gotta make that video first, though.
Well, yeah, that's if you know what's next,
Yeah,
right? So, but if you don't, it's very easy. So now, if you found value in this video, you're going to want to check this one out next.
and then leave it.
And then whatever happens to me. Cool. All right, crew. Well, I appreciate the heck out of you. We got to come up with a not come up, like I got to get behind the screen and create our distribution list to send out reminders for our new masterminds. So be on the lookout for that. But outside of that, I appreciate you. Let me know if you have any questions. We're going to run it back next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central. See you then. Thank y'all.